Outlaw Lawyer.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyer. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate, joined by, as always, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners at Whitaker & Hamer Law Firm. Our special guest today, she's been on the show several times, and I tell you, our ratings have gone up because she's on the show. But Cassandra Nicholas is here, also an attorney with Whitaker & Hamer. We are now going to get into Supreme Court nominees.
So it's been an interesting week for Supreme Court nominees and justices. So we've talked about the new nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and we did a deep dive and talked about her and her qualifications. And I think we had a bold Outlaw Lawyer prediction that she would be confirmed. I think that's where we
did. We made that prediction.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's official.
I'm sticking with
on
it.
the books.
That's on the
Yeah,
books?
I'm sticking with it.
I think it was only official if it happens, and we're not there
that's
yet.
That's how predictions work, right?
I feel good enough now that I think we're on the books. I think she's a great nominee. The confirmation hearing has been interesting because I think everybody pretty much knows there's enough Democratic votes to confirm her in the Senate. Like, we're not worried. It's not like we're not really worried about her. At least I'm not being confirmed. You know, again, and this we end up talking about partisan politics when we talk about this because that's how the fallout is. So we've got enough Democratic votes in the Senate to confirm her. She's very qualified. Everybody expects her to be confirmed, but the Republicans are still going to ask her questions and kind of get stuff out there. But I think her confirmation hearings so far have really just been used as a vehicle to kind of advance some national political type positions because she's going to be a really good justice, I think. But some of the questions she's getting, Cassandra, I know you've been looking at that. But where are the line of questioning going right now?
So it's kind of all over the place. There are a lot just on her actual record as it should be, looking at what she's actually already ruled on. It's nice to have a nominee with a record to look at, to actually be looking at how they've already ruled. But then there are some that are just not particularly on point. She's been asked about how critical race theory is taught in particular schools. She was asked about a particular school that happens to be Georgetown Day School, which is a private school. So she made a very strong, valid point that's not all that relevant, given that they can teach whatever they want at a private school.
Do you remember, have you ever seen the movie, you've seen Office Space, right? Everybody's seen Office Space.
You've seen Office Space, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
It's been a while.
Yes.
And you remember there was, I can't remember, what was the boss's name that no one really liked, and he kind of walked around, he didn't really do anything, he just drank his coffee.
I see what he looks like, but
He had the beard.
yeah, I can't remember his name.
And so he would walk around and he was, they had the TPS reports that were real meaningless, and he would go around and ask everybody about these TPS reports, and he needed them, and they were important, and everybody knew they were important.
I try to do that to our employees every day that I can.
Effective.
And when I think it was Senator Cruz. I think Senator Cruz was doing that line of questioning, but when he was asking a Supreme Court justice about, again, and we talked about we didn't really talk about it, but we talked about PR and the way things are named, and I felt like he was that boss in Office Space. He was asking a very smart person about something that maybe, at least in that context, was not very important.
Sure.
A Supreme Court justice isn't going to really deal with critical race theory, and their opinions on the matter probably aren't very important. So I don't know what, maybe if you're listening, maybe you really like Senator Cruz, maybe you don't. I didn't understand where he was going with that.
I don't think she did either. She took a moment to think about it.
She handled it very
well. It was
well.
a nice long pause and a slow blink.
Slow blink. You always got to worry when someone just blinks super slow at you.
But I read that, I was like, what is he? I mean, you're just wasting time. And I think, and it's both sides. What was the last nominee that got confirmed? That was a Republican nominee. Was it Barrett?
Yeah,
Yes.
Amy.
Yeah, I remember Senator Booker, so that was a Democrat in a kind of a different situation. There was a lot going on there. But he did that same thing. He asked her a lot of questions that I thought were just...
Well, it's like they're trying to, you get these politicians it's like they're trying to check boxes that they think their constituents care about, like their base.
That's exactly what it is.
That's all it is.
Well,
is like, I don't know that he genuinely cares. Like,
It's a dog and pony show. It always is.
Yeah. And he, you got to assume he understands she's going to be confirmed, so he knows this is going to have no effect on that.
Right.
it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant issue. So it's just like he's saying things just to appease the more fervent base that he has.
And asking questions on any controversial topics is going to get that senator's face on TV more.
That's true too.
And it did,
That's true too.
because we heard about it.
And we're talking about
And
it.
that's right. So it worked.
But we're talking about how dumb it was too, though. Basically, how irrelevant it was.
It was completely irrelevant.
But all press is good press, right? Is that
I guess.
the case?
No
Yeah.
such thing as bad publicity.
There you go.
And then they have been questioning her on relevant topics like potential affirmative action cases regarding Harvard that will be coming to the Supreme Court. That is particularly relevant because she does sit on Harvard's governing board. So the discussion is whether or not she will recuse herself if she is added to the court and that case comes before them.
And so that is relevant because we've seen that in the past where you've had justices who had some sort of a vested interest in a case that actually recused themselves. So I think that's fair game, and that isn't just a completely off the wall irrelevant.
Yeah,
thing.
no, I think that was at least relevant because, like you said, we've seen it happen before. Judges recusing themselves when they have a personal tie to a case is important. It's really important on the U.S. Supreme Court though because if you recuse yourself, no one's stepping in your place, right? So if you're doing something on the district court level or you're doing something on the state level and a judge recuses themselves, a lot of times there's another similarly situated judge who can step in their place and take over. U.S. Supreme Court, there ain't, right? So if a Supreme Court justice recuses themselves and it's a 5-4 court or whatever, then it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a deadlock potentially. So I see that being an issue, and but yeah, it's interesting, and I guess the reason that's a little more that's been a topic of discussion is because you've had. Sounds like in the past you've had these justices where there was a potential issue like that. They came out up front and basically acknowledged initially that they would be recusing themselves, and she hasn't done that. So she's not really commented on whether that would be the case. So I think there's some concern there among people. But again, that's a more relevant issue. It's not just throwing a hot button issue out for the sake of throwing a hot button issue out that has no relevance.
Yeah, I don't like to see the softball questions, and I don't like to see the just irrelevant how is she supposed to answer some of these questions? But she did a very good job, and it's good. Again, no matter what side of the fence you fall on, when you're talking about the Supreme Court, you just want a good, smart, experienced justice.
Sure.
And I think she's going to be that. I think she's going to be that. So I think she's a good one.
That's what we should all want, right? That's what everyone.
You should want good, smart people in leadership positions.
What a bold take that is, Josh.
We should put that in some kind of bill and see if it makes it all the way through.
We've drafted a lot of legislation here today. The you have to take a test before you protest bill, and the smart people in
positions of
leadership.
power.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to workshop the name of that one.
Yeah.
One that'll be in the headlines.
The smart leaders.
Up with smart people.
Up with smart people. I like it. I like it a lot.
We have good, smart people here on the program today. We've got the Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer. We also have our special guest, Cassandra Nicholas, also an attorney at Whitaker and Hamer. I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm just on the side. Morgan Patrick, again, consumer advocate.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. But again, just a reminder, Josh and Joe are practicing attorneys here in North Carolina, as is Cassandra. Folks, if you've got a legal situation that you're going through, I've got a number for you, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Just leave your contact information, briefly what the call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. They have offices in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, and Gastonia. And if you've got a question you'd like answered on the show, we can do that in the future. Just send us the email now, and we'll answer it in a future program. questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. And again, a great website, theoutlawlawyer.com. We're back right after this.